Hello. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Waterstones, I'd like to welcome you to this evening's very exciting event. A very quick piece of housekeeping before we start. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please follow a bookseller to the nearest exit, which in this room is in that corner. We are thrilled to welcome tonight Sophie Kinsella to celebrate publication of Burnout, the irresistible romantic comedy. I'm sure Sophie needs no introduction to you, but she is, of course, the internationally best-selling author of the Shopaholic series. Your host for tonight is Jenny Colgan, one of the most successful feel-good fiction authors in the UK. There will be a signing afterwards, so please stay seated. A member of staff will let you know when it's time to head up, and there is a 2-book limit. But of course, that's enough from me, so please join me in welcoming Sophie and Jenny to the stage.
I'm so glad we're not seated directly in burning sunlight. Look at Maddie's lovely hair, it's glowing.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
That's the lighting people that I hired.
Hi, everyone. Yeah. Hi, my name is Jenny Colgan. I am so thrilled to be introducing Sophie Kinsella tonight to talk about the Burnout. Also, thank you very much for taking a night off from Scotland's inevitable march to Euros victory. One of the world's loveliest bookshops, one of the world's loveliest writers. Everyone watching on streaming, we wave to you. They're there. Thank you. Sending kisses wherever you are, especially if you're watching in the middle of the night, because that is commitment, I think. Yeah. I am not going to talk for very long because we have lots to hear from Sophie. The Burnout is Sophie's extraordinary 33rd novel. Over 45 million copies of these books have been sold all over the world.
Oh, wow!
60 countries, 40 languages. She's popular everywhere. She's graced the front cover of magazines, has an honorary doctorate, and 5 children. Yes, 5. Maddie was... I always say this. Maddie was born in such and such a year. That doesn't matter. You look 35.
You can stay.
I can't. I'm going to melt in about... Also, I didn't discuss this with you. If this cardigan comes off, everything comes off, so I'm stuck with it. It's fine. She went to Oxford to read music, is an exceptional pianist and violinist, as well as a dancer, tennis player, singer, and swimmer, which would be extremely annoying if she wasn't so much fun. After working as a financial journalist, she published several novels as Madeline Wickham, amongst them Sleeping Arrangements, which was turned into a musical. We'll obviously be performing some high-kicking extracts.
Yeah, I've got my high-kicking shoes on.
Kicking shoes on. The Shopaholic novels arrived in 2000, would you believe, and were an instant worldwide hit. Funny, incredibly relatable, underestimated, I feel, for their immaculate plotting, extraordinary observation, and wit. The first was turned into a film starring Isla Fisher, as was the standalone Can You Keep a Secret? Sophie has also written the charming Mummy Fairy series for children, literally the only books my savage daughter ever loved. And Finding Audrey for YA, which famously starts with a mother throwing a games console out of a window. Her new novel in paperback is The Burnout, about Sasha, who is finding life too much and takes herself off to an out-of-season seaside hotel to pull herself together, whereupon adventures ensue. We will be getting into this. I'm not going to talk too much. I'm going to ask a few questions to Sophie and then throw it open as soon as I can so we can make sure that everyone gets a chance if they have a question or just want to say hi. First, though, many of you will already know, that Sophie has had her ups and downs with her health. We're a gang here tonight, yeah? We're all friends. We're not really going to discuss it, and we don't want any questions, if that's okay. I know you understand. Thank you. Sophie Kinsella fans. Really nice.
They are the best. I
They
have
are
the
the
nicest
best.
readers. This is a little-known secret that I keep to myself, but they are the best.
I think so. But I will very quickly say, how are you?
I am good, thank you. This is our little health bulletin. I feel great. I am well in myself. Everything's going well. I was so moved by the response that I got when I made my announcement that I have to say a big thank you to all of you for just being so lovely. And at the moment, all is good. So that's my report.
So, the Burnout. I grew up in a small seaside town in Scotland, which was exactly like this in the wintertime. How did you do your research?
Well, I started with my sort of initial inspiration for the book, which was that I wanted to write about a woman who goes through terrible burnout, but recovers. And I wanted her to recover on a beach. I had a vision of a huge expanse of beach and the waves and the surf and the sky and the gulls overhead, and I just thought this would be a really great setting and a romantic setting for a heroine to find herself again and to perhaps find a hunky man strolling along that beach. But at the same time, I wanted it to be funny, because I write funny. So I thought, well, there's something quite funny and poignant about off-season resorts. I've been to a fair few myself, and so my husband and I, we drove to Devon, and we sort of stayed in various places, and we wandered around, and I had a look at the streets and the hotels and the beach and the sort of freezing cold sea, and worked out a kind of a fictional resort for myself. And then created this hotel, which I must say, for legal reasons, is not based on any hotel that I came across, because I would be sued. And it was just immense fun creating this place that in the summertime is absolute glory, and then in the wintertime is slightly faded around the edges and a bit dilapidated and a bit kind of doesn't have so much point to it. And so it was actually great fun to research. It was brilliant.
What is, if you had to pick one, what's your favourite type of British holiday?
Well, you know, I'm going to be so British now and say it depends on the weather. Because if it's sunny, you can't do better than a British beach. A sunny, wonderful British beach, maybe Devon, maybe Cornwall, the surf and the blue hot sky and the waves and ice creams and seagulls and all the things that I love from memories of my childhood. You see, in my memories, it always was sunny. And I'm sure my parents would disagree. So, you know, I'm just no different from anybody else. I just want that sunny beach. And, you know, you just keep going there, don't you, full of hope. And then just enough times it's sunny to make it worthwhile you risking going again. And then there's the time it tips.
Why do you feel people are burning out these days? I bet we could go around this room and everyone would have an answer.
Yes, exactly. Hands up. Who feels burned out? Yeah, you see? Well, I have to say, because this book has been out for a while in hardback, and when it first came out, I got a message from a reader who'd been reading it. And the book begins with my heroine, Sasha, absolutely overwhelmed by emails. She's typing them, she's stressed out, she can't reply to all her emails. She's got more coming into the inbox even as she's typing, and it's all deeply stressful. And this reader said that it had actually upset her to read this because it was too close to home and it touched a nerve. And I thought, well, that's something, isn't it? And I don't think we can completely just blame email, because email is an innocent piece of technology. It's not evil in itself. But I think that we could learn to manage it better. And I often think back, I thought back regularly when I was writing The Burnout, about my own first job, which, for any Shopaholic fans, it was basically Becky Bloomwood's job. So I started off on a financial magazine, not really knowing what the hell I was doing. And we didn't have email, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have the internet. None of this had been invented yet. So we just did our work. I remember my working hours were 9:30 to 5. I went in at 9:30, I started working, and then I went home at 5 o'clock. And then actually after a while I started writing a novel in the evenings. And guess what? The magazine kept coming out. The work was done. Nobody needed to have a round-robin email. We all just talked to each other. And we didn't have wellness programs because we felt pretty well. We'd never heard of wellness. So I do feel there are lessons that could be learned on boundaries and on limiting technology, working out how we can make it work for us, not work us.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Could you stand for Prime Minister? All writers and all readers start as childhood readers. What kind of a childhood reader were you?
Oh, I'm sure you can guess. I was obsessive. An obsessive reader. I read everything all the time. I remember I used to be driven to gym club by a friend's parents, and there were always books in their car. And the friend complained that I would never talk to her. All I would do is pick up whatever book was lying around and read that, because I just loved words, and I still do love words. But something which I've reflected on is that I reread books. I reread books. I read them once and twice and 3 times over, and I still do this to this day. I reread books. And I sometimes wonder if that helped me to write, to learn how stories work, and helped me internalize the kind of the narrative structure of a book, the beats and the timing. And as for who I read, I'm sure you can guess. The same old suspects: Enid Blyton, Noel Streatfeild, Mallory Towers, Jill and her ponies. I don't know if anybody else read Jill and her ponies. I love those.
Really
so
emphatic pony fan there.
Yeah, and I just loved them.
Although I did, one of my favourite stories about you, and in fact we have in common, was when Maddie was 5. Her parents came across her reading a book called Teach Your Child to Read.
Yes.
I think that's the most you story I've ever heard. And so, when did you realise you could write a book? Was it a process, or have you realised yet?
No, not at all. No, I have not. You still do it with a wing and a prayer and a crossed fingers, and let's hope it works this time. But I suppose when I thought I'm going to give this a go was when I was at the aforementioned financial journalist, and I would be travelling on the train to work and I'd be reading. And it was actually Joanna Trollope's books which made me think, ooh, I think I could do this. And the reason is that she wrote about normal people. And I think I'd grown up on a diet of books about kind of mega successful, glamorous women, a bit like Shirley Conran's Lace. And everyone sort of ran global multimedia companies and had sex all over the place with goldfish. And it was all slightly out of my comfort zone. And I didn't think I could write that kind of a book at all. But then I read Joanna Trollope books, which were about people living in houses and talking in their kitchens and having cups of coffee. And I thought, well, hang on. What, we're allowed to write about normal people? No one told me this. Okay. And that's where it began. And I wrote my first book, The Tennis Party, just completely on spec, just thinking I'm going to have a go at this.
Wow. And what did you do with it? Did you finish it first time out?
I finished it. And I sent it out. And one of the people that it reached was Araminta, sitting in the audience, who became my agent and has been my agent ever since.
That's amazing. Wow. What's your normal writing schedule like? I'm always interested in tips.
First thing in the morning, when my brain is fresh. Now, I don't mean your version of first thing in the morning, which is ludicrously early. I mean my version, which is about 9 o'clock. I find that my brain is clearest in the morning before it's had time to get mixed up with other stuff. And my standard issue routine has always been 1,000 words a day. If you write that for long enough, you'll get a book. That's simple maths. And coffee and music.
I was I was going to ask this. Are there many book talk fans in the audience? Book talk people. Cool. Could you please explain to us how it works? Because our publishers keep telling us we need to know what it is, and we don't know. I wanted to ask your very funny book, My Not So Perfect Life, was concerned with the fake world, of course, that people put out on the internet, which I think is one of the reasons they burn out. How do you feel about social media these days?
Well, funnily enough, I'm really enjoying social media now. I think that the way it can magically connect you with other people is just astonishing. And like I said, I mean, recently when I made my announcement about my health and I was reached out to by so many lovely people, it really meant something. And it's not just a sort of digital meaningless click. It really is real people with real thoughts and emotions. So I think the connection part of social media is just magical. And I think the showing off about your life part, funnily enough, I really hope that we've all learned that it's all fake. I think that, you know, the whole world of influencers has been made more public. Everybody's looked slightly closer at what they're all doing. And we now look at an influencer and we think, oh, there's an influencer doing their thing. We don't think, no, you know, I wish I had that kitchen. I'm a bad person because I haven't got that kitchen. We don't think that. We think, oh, that's an influencer in their influencer kitchen. You know, well done them. Now let's move on and look at a funny video with a toddler or a baby or a cat or a dog, depending on which you like. And actually, I get a lot of entertainment from social media. And I think a lot of talent that would perhaps once upon a time have gone into sketch shows on TV, you know, comedians, they now do skits on Instagram, which I'm just really enjoying watching. I've found some really great, funny women on Instagram, and I'm really enjoying them. And I just wish that we still did have the TV sketch show, like the Smack the Pony or French and Saunders, because there they all are. They're all doing funny stuff. It's a different medium.
I love rom-com books, obviously. We both do. But when I think of rom-coms, I quite often first think of films. What are your favourite rom-coms? I think you can tell a lot really about people hard. From this.
Oh,
it
no,
is hard.
This is the personality
also I'm
test.
judging you. No,
okay, am I allowed to say Legally Blonde? Oh, is that a rom-com? That is one of my...
It's not a legal documentary.
Well, I think of it really as a com, as much as a rom-com. It's one of my favourite films, hands down, all time. Never mind favourite rom-com. I just think it's a genius film. I really enjoyed Notting Hill, and I think for your classic rom-com, there's just nothing to beat that. What else do I like? I liked About Time.
Did you?
Yes. Oh no, is that not a popular choice? Oh no, I liked it. Because I'm really a bit of a sucker for time travel. So I enjoyed that one. Oh, we can discuss it later.
Have a heated debate.
Exactly.
Of all the things I thought we might be having a heated debate about, it was not a time travel film. And I have to ask you this, but you are allowed to say piss off because we get asked all the time, but we have to get asked it. And actually, I asked the great Catherine Newman this question the other week, and she told me to F off in no uncertain terms. So if you want to do that, you can also do that. How do you feel about the siloing of genre for women when I think of you as a great comic writer? Well, I mean, I just think it's a shame, really, because I think that comedy is unisex and story is unisex. And I don't really understand why it has to be so polarized into men and women, and rather than just, this is a funny book. And actually, even take the Shopaholic books. You might think, well, that's quite clearly a woman's book. And I would profoundly disagree. And I would say that men overspend, men get into credit card debt, men have to think about tightening their belts. Chancellors of the Exchequer go into debt, let's face it, and they have to make the same choice as Becky Bloomwood. Do we cut back or do we make more money? You know, this is just the state of humanity with where we're at.
do I go into debt or don't I? Now, they don't all lie about it and put their visa bills under the bed. But again, I'm sure plenty of men do that. So just to take that as one example, I don't see why that should have been seen as just purely a female book. And I know that the male readers I do have, I've had letters from men saying things like, well, I found your book in a villa and I read it and it was good. And they sound vaguely affronted that they enjoyed it. And they say, it's almost like, well, I shouldn't have found it good because, the cover directed me to find it trivial. But guess what? There was a story there worth reading. So I don't think one author on their own can do anything to change this, but I do think it's a shame. It's a shame that everything is so polarised.
I always call them the September letters. Because they've been on holiday in August. Oh, it was my girlfriend's book, Ken. They have to tell you that it wasn't theirs. Yes. Have you noticed? It wasn't mine. What would you like people to take away from the Burnout? As well as what you will get, which is a lovely, warm, happy feeling like you do with all your books.
Oh, bless you. Well, I hope that they laugh, because I like to make people laugh. I hope that they are entertained and maybe slightly swept off their feet with a little bit of romance. And I hope that if they are suffering from burnout, like Sasha, or even a different problem, a different struggle, that they realize that there is hope and there is a path through it, and that they can be inspired by her, because it is an optimistic book. It starts off with her in the grimmest state of mind that she's ever known. But by the end, there is hope. And I'm not saying everyone's going to do it via a cold, windswept Devon beach. But there is a kind of path to recovery that she finds for herself, a lot of which does require putting down boundaries. Like, you can tell I'm slightly obsessed by this. By putting down boundaries and asserting herself at work and making it clear what she will and won't do. And that's the way that she finds a way forward. So I hope that people might be inspired by that if they have similar problems in their lives or know people that do.
I am lucky enough to have read your next amazing, incredibly powerful book, What Does It Feel Like? Can you very briefly tell us a little bit about what is coming?
Well, so I've written this book. It's a short novella, and it's called What Does It Feel Like? And it's my most autobiographical work I've ever done. And it's about, well, when I tell you what it's about, you'll understand. It's about a novelist with 5 children, I have 5 children, who receives a diagnosis of brain cancer, and of what happens through that story. So it's basically what's been happening to me recently turned into this little book. And I just hope that I hope that it's not a gloomy book. I think it's an uplifting book. It's definitely upbeat. It's an upbeat book. It has moments to laugh, and then it has tougher moments. But what I'm really hoping is that people learn from it and are inspired by it. And if they have someone in their life who's going through something similar, then they could pass it to them and they might find some hope from it. Because it is a hopeful book, even though the beginning is quite shocking. It is a hopeful book. So, and it's coming out in October, so you'll be able to read it then. And then you'll know even more about me than you do now.
Hooray. Okay, I think we are going to open this up a little bit, and we have a couple of roving mics coming down, and I can also take anything off the live stream, I think, if people want to do that. Hello.
Hi. Firstly, I just want to start by saying thank you so much. I've been a massive fan for over 20 years, and every year I look out for your books, and it's like a highlight of my year. So thank you so much for your amazing books.
Thank you.
I'm such a big fan.
Wow, that's a really nice question.
I wanted to ask, so I'm in my mid-30s, I'm single, and I swear a big part of that is because of the male leads in your books. So I would like to ask, who of all of the male leads you've written is your favourite and why? And if you had to cast them in the movie, who would be playing them?
Ooh, that's a brilliant question. Favourite? Oh, but how can I choose the favourite lead? It's got to be Luke. It's got to be Luke because I've spent so much time with Luke that I feel I know him very well indeed, and I do rather love him. I must also mention, of course, the fictional character in What Does It Feel Like? Because I am married and have been for a number of years, and my fictional heroine, Eve, is also married, and if you read the book, you will understand what a hero her husband is. And my husband has been a hero these last 20 months. So it's really got to be Nick.
Here.
Yes.
I'm just doing urgent Kleenex duty.
Yes, no, we're good. I've got waterproof mascara.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm good.
Plus, you don't have sleeves. I've got sleeves. Thank you. There's one down the front here. Oh. We'll get to you in a sec.
Hi, Maddie. Great
Hi
to see you, and congratulations on the new book. I have to ask, is Becky Bloomwood coming back soon?
Ooh, do you know, I have to say at the moment, I don't know. I'm playing around with different ideas, and she's definitely in my mind a lot.
Okay.
But at the moment, I haven't really had the energy to write recently, so I can't do a firm yay or nay, but I keep her close to my heart, to put it like that.
Okay. We'll take that for now. Thank you.
There's a girl in the yellow top down here.
Hello.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask you, where do you get your inspirations for your female characters? Because the recent one in the Burnout, there's one scene where she runs into the wall of a building away from the nun. That was hilarious. She's my flatmate. I ran out of my room just to recollect the story. Sat down, laughed. Both of us went back to the room to continue reading. And a lot of your stories, all of your stories have had me rolling on the floor laughing, which is why you're my favorite author. Just wanted to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I don't know if you all caught the question, but it was where do I get the inspiration for my characters? And then it was expanded with the moment where Sasha runs into a wall as she's running away from a nun. That didn't happen to me. That bit I made up. But I would say that my characters come from, obviously, I pick up in the world. I meet people, I look at their characteristics, I have long chats with people and learn about their lives, and it all goes into creating character. I would also say I put part of myself into every heroine I write. I think I just do it instinctively because I write from the first person and it all feels quite confessional and honest, and I think it would be too difficult to keep myself out of it. So they're all bits of me. There's versions of, and my worst traits as well. I can put one into this character and one into one's klutzy and one's obsessive and one shops too much and one is a workaholic, and so it goes on. I just sort of parcel up all my flaws into different characters. Thank you so much.
Hi, hello.
Hi there.
First of all, I want to say you've been my inspiration. Your books have found me at a time when I needed them. For example, Remember Me, I read it while I was in hospital. Undomestic Goddess while I was studying law. Confession of a Shopaholic when I was shopping a lot and my mom cut me off from the credit card. So you literally have been an inspiration, and it feels like every book I pick up, it's like you're writing about me and my life, and I just want to say thank you.
Oh, well, that's really lovely. Thank you.
What advice do you have for someone who has imposter syndrome about their writing and how to go along with it?
Oh, imposter syndrome. No, that's all wrong. Just write what's true and what's in your heart, and that you can't possibly have imposter syndrome. Well, I mean, anybody is qualified to write. Anybody who has a word in their body is qualified to write that word down, and that was them expressing themselves. That was their writing. And so just trust what you're doing. Write to please yourself. Don't think about other people. Just write what you would love to read yourself, and it will be worth reading, I can guarantee you.
Thank you so much. And the first book, your inspiration, definitely.
Oh, well, thank you, and good luck. Are you you're writing?
I've been writing, and when you say thank you to the people, I haven't published anything. I said, I'm writing this for Sophie Kinsella, and hope one day she can read my stuff and know that you inspired me.
Okay, well, I'm sure I will.
Sorry, I'm really nervous. This is my first book signing, and I really wanted to meet you.
Very well.
Sorry.
Thank you for coming. That really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
Hello. Oh, where are we? Whose microphone is on? Mine. Hello.
Oh, hello.
I would like to know, on the Shopaholic
Would you like
front...
to introduce yourself, question?
Okay. I'm Jojo Moyes. And I would like to know... okay, well, I can say I have known you and your purchasing power for many years, and I would like to know, what's the most ill-advised thing you've ever bought yourself?
Oh, do you know, I don't even have to think about this. I want to take you way back to the 80s and to a time when one might conceivably have thought that a really good idea would be to buy an electric blue jumpsuit with a sort of flappy bit at the front and sort of clasps all the way down. One might have thought that this was very now and forward-looking and great, and one would have been completely wrong. It was a terrible purchase that I almost regretted, even as I was trying on. I had to be slightly talked into it by the shop assistant, who obviously thought, someone's got the jumpsuit. Hooray. And I think I wore it once, saw the looks I was getting, and realised that this had been a big mistake.
Oh, so it wasn't even the bathroom issue with the jumpsuit. It was just literally the jumpsuit.
It was literally what was I thinking?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we've got...
Hi, Sophie.
Oh, hi.
I'm a bit awkward about this, but so my sister and I have loved your books for a very long time. There's a lot of wisdom behind your writing. I mean, they put us through some really difficult times. We bonded over your books a lot. There's like a 10-year age difference between us, but I think that was a bonding point for us when we were both younger.
That's so lovely.
That is so lovely.
She was your biggest fan. I mean, I'm like a minimal fan compared to her. She has all of your books. But what is one thing you would go back in time and tell yourself 30 years ago? What's the one thing you probably would go back and tell yourself? What's the one thing you've learned maybe that you would?
Oh, I would have told myself, don't worry so much. I would have said, it's going to be fine. Don't stress it. Don't overthink. I think I'm a slightly obsessive character. Like, you can probably tell from reading my books that I'm obsessive. And I do have the flaw of sometimes obsessing over, I'll probably overthink this evening tonight. I'll probably get back home and think, oh, wait, but what I could have said is this. What I could have done, and I'll sort of analyse it, and I would have told myself, just stop that. It's what's done is done. I'm getting better at being able to, like I said earlier, with boundaries, just say, no, it's done, dead, gone, move forward. So I am getting better at that, but I have spent a lot of my life coming out of a meeting or an event like this or just a supper party and picking over that one thing I said that I now regret. I mean, what a waste of time is that? Don't. It was done and everyone else has forgotten it.
That's pretty good advice. Thank you.
We've got one down here. Oh, a pink and the white down here. Yeah. Thank you. Who wants? Oh, Sophie Kinsella fans are so polite.
So, Maddie, my friend of mine was inspired by you to start writing.
Oh, amazing.
And she based her first couple of books on the Shopaholic series.
Wow.
She's asked me to send on her best wishes to you tonight. She couldn't be here. My question is, you say you like to listen to music when you write. Is there anything in particular you like listening to?
Well, I just listen to anything that's going to block out the outside world. And actually, I've recently started, I choose one song and I just listen to it over and over for a book. It's become a kind of, obsessive. It's a way I like, it also becomes the sort of soundtrack of the book. And so when I was writing the Burnout, I listened a lot to this is going to sound so weird and geeky, but anyway, I'll admit it, to the film score from Interstellar. I don't know if anybody knows that music. It just seemed to suit the sweeping landscape of a beach. And I listened to it, and then I listened to it some more, and I didn't need to listen to anything else. My daughter despairs of me because she's a Swiftie. And so she's always trying to say, why aren't you listening to Taylor Swift? And then, but if I did, I would listen to one song over and over, and that would not please her either, I can tell you that. So that's me, Mrs. Obsessive.
Hi.
Hi.
I discovered your books when I was in high school and when I was living back home in Romania. So I come to you from a very exotic land of Romania, and you're very big down there as well. And I just wanted to confirm that you are not just a women's writer. My mother and I, we loved your books, and we made my dad read them, and he loved them as well.
Oh, great!
He's a huge fan. And I was just wondering if you ever thought about writing from a man's perspective.
Ooh.
Is that not kind of chick lit, even though we don't like that label?
That's so interesting. It hasn't... Oh, do you know what, though? My very first book that I wrote was multi-POV. And I think that one of the first characters I came up with was a man. And so maybe I had more courage in those days. I wrote a multi-person book with everybody with different concerns, and they were men, women, children. I had them all, and I explored all of their thoughts, and I didn't even cross my mind not to. So I would say that I wouldn't be put off. I wouldn't be put off doing that, and maybe you've given me an idea.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm following on the asking you for advice questions.
Yes.
I write very dry academic work, and it bothers me because I have this data. I've lived with street girls in Egypt for 3 years, and usually writing about street children is so sad and somber and bleak, but actually that was like 3 minutes of the 3 years in terms of data. There is so much about humans that is funny and joyful. And I wondered, I've been playing with the idea of writing a funny kind of take on their lives, their humor, the things that happen that are funny. And what happens when you say your readers are wonderful and kind, but what happens when people say, actually, that's distasteful, that you're belittling people's, I don't know, debt issues? Have you ever dealt with that?
Oh, sure.
And how do you deal with it?
I've had loads of people criticize me for encouraging people to shop, even though the books are actually exactly what they don't do. I think that you have to just write something that is kind and respectful, and then you're allowed to crack the jokes you want to crack. And if people find them funny, they'll find them funny. And if you tell a true story, then people will be interested in it. So don't let, especially if it's just a few stray comments, don't let those put you off. You know, find feedback from people that you trust and say, look, am I doing the right thing here? Can you read what I've done? Can you tell me? Just in case, because we all have our lapses of taste sometimes, and we need that sensible reader to say, you know what, I can see what you were trying to do, but it didn't quite come off, or it's going to offend people, so don't be doing that. We all need that in our lives, and you must be respectful of your editors and or whoever your friend group that you get to help you. But just the idea of criticism putting you off, I think you just accept you will get criticized, that this will happen, and you just have to think, okay, well, that was your opinion, and you can learn from it. You can always learn from criticism. If somebody makes a valid point, then think, great, I've had some free advice, and move on.
And can I just jump in really quickly? We've had a question from the live stream from Lindy, who wants to know where your dress is from.
Oh, can I just say, top question. This was a bit of an indulgence. My dress is from Giambattista Valli, and it's not its first outing, so I am being good. And cost per wear is coming down tonight, so thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm a reader originally from the US. And so actually the first book that I read was Confessions of a Shopaholic as opposed to Dream World of a Shopaholic. And I just wondered what you thought about the title change and maybe which title you might prefer.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I wrote a book called The Secret Dream World of a Shopaholic. And then in the US it was retitled Confessions of a Shopaholic. And I remember that actually, even at the time in the UK, there was talk about, should it be called Confessions of a Shopaholic? But we'd had this string of films here called Confessions of a Window Cleaner and Confessions of a Lorry Driver. So they thought, no, this will be too confusing. So, yeah. I think the truth is I do slightly prefer The Secret Dream World of a Shopaholic because I think it's a bit more whimsical. And she really does go around in a bit of a dream world because it's not just the spending, it's the kind of fantasies. I'll buy this and it will turn me into this kind of person and then this will happen and this will happen. She really does get carried away in her own world. And so I think that's where the dream world comes in.
Hi, I'm Ruqayya. I'm from Pakistan, and I'm also having my second baby. I don't know how you've done it 5 times.
No, I've no idea.
But me and my mom and my sister were big fans of yours, and you mentioned rereading. I've reread your book so many times, so I thought I'd let you know.
Thank you so much.
How fun and how exciting they are every time. As an aspiring author, I would like to ask, what's the best piece of writing advice you've ever received?
I can tell you that, write the truth. I did a writing workshop is the wrong word, what was it? It was a sort of 3-day course run by a writing guru called Robert McKee, who I can highly recommend. It's a screenwriting, he's a screenwriting expert, and he runs these courses where he teaches you how to write for film, and he analyzes films. When I did it, they analyzed the whole of Casablanca scene by scene, which was just an amazing experience. And he's got these merch. He's got merch sweatshirts, and I bought one. I'm so geeky. And on it just says "Write the truth," and I think it's the best. Because you can't second guess what somebody wants to write about. I don't know what you want to write about. But if it's true, then it will resonate. It will resonate with somebody. So, dig deep inside and find a truth, your truth, and write that the best.
Thank you, that's very helpful.
Did you choose? I think we had a colourful print here and green here. Yes, green here maybe.
Hi, Maddie.
Hi
My
there.
name's Alia, and I last saw you in 2014 at Wimbledon Book Fest. And there are a lot of aspiring writers here today, and I was always a fan. I have reread your books, I can't even say how many times. But in terms of writing, I remember meeting you, and I was an aspiring writer then, and you gave me that advice that you just did, and I've now published my second book, and I want to say it works. Her advice works.
Oh, good.
Proof is in the pudding, and you wrote it. I've got that book. You said just write the truth, and you were kind enough to read my book and gave me a quote. And for a year after that, I went around saying, Sophie Kinsella likes my book. Sophie Kinsella likes my book. So I just want to give hope to anybody.
I do like your book. And I'm so glad that my advice had anything to do with it.
It did. 2014. I remember the moment. Because I loved your books. And you are, such a fantasy figure. When you're a reader, your favorite authors are such a fantasy figure. And I met you and I thought, actually, she's quite normal.
Little did you know.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you and congratulations. That's tremendous.
Hi, I'd just like to go back to the title, Secret Dream World and Confessions of a Shopaholic, because actually before either of those titles, you wrote Secret Dream, the publisher wanted to call it retail therapy. And there was a lot of discussion back and forth, which I don't think you were particularly party to, of trying to ensure that it was never called retail therapy. But that's what it nearly came out as. Larry might remember that. And Linda might remember that too, yeah.
I don't think we'd have been here.
I think we have room for two more. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Girl in white at the front and whoever's at the back, please. Sorry.
But we are doing a signing, so if you have a burning question, then.
Thank you. Hello, Sophie.
Hi there.
I just want to let you know you were the first book I ever read, actually. My first language is Arabic. I grew up in Dubai my whole life, and my dad got me your book. That was my first English book I ever read. Oh, wow. And since then, I've been hooked.
Oh.
Yeah, and now I'm in the UK, and I found my Luke. And I manifested through your book.
I thought he looked like Luke.
Right? Manifested through you. And my question is, if you had to choose one book that you could read over and over on a deserted island, what would it be? Including your books.
Oh, including my...
Because I would.
This is where you discover if I'm a massive big head or not. Yes, it would be all my books collected into one volume. I don't know if I can answer that, but I can tell you the books on my nightstand that I dip into endlessly they're both diary books, and I find them just they make me laugh, and I can somehow read them again and again and again. One is Diary of a Nobody, and the other is The Diary of a Provincial Lady. And for some reason, I just never get tired of them. So those would have to be my desert island picks.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're going to have one more question. Was it at the back? I think it was at the back. Oh, here we go. Thank you.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi there.
I was first introduced to your books when I was 13 years old. My auntie gave me a copy of The Confessions of a Shopaholic on my summer holiday, and I read the whole book, and then the next three, within the same summer.
Oh, wow.
I was so obsessed with them, and I'm 27 now, and I've been a really hardcore fan ever since. I even named my first son Luke after your book. So. And I told him about that tonight, and I said I was coming to meet you, and he was really excited. So
please do give him my love.
I will. Thank you. My question for you is: what are you currently reading, or what was your last read, and do you recommend it?
I've been rereading. I've been rereading a book called Small World by David Lodge. Does anybody here know the author David Lodge? It's an academic set comedy about academics who jet around the world and do conferences and misbehave and sleep with each other, and I'm really, really enjoying it because it's a book I read as a teenager and I hadn't come back to, and I'm now almost. I don't know if you ever have this. When you reread a book, you can actually remember who you were when you've read it the first time, and that's kind of happening to me when I'm reading it. So that's my current read, and I would recommend it.
Thank you so much. Gosh, what a lovely crowd. Two, how interesting you are. How many countries did we have? That was so cool. We're going to stop there, but Sophie's going to do a signing at the back. We're going to limit it to 2 books, if that is okay. And also, you have a mild cold. So happy to do selfies, but it's going to be on the other side of the desk. Does that make sense when I say it? Brilliant. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Sophie.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to my dear friend, Jenny Colgan, for being an absolutely superb host. And thank you, Waterstones, for having us. Yes. And thank you for coming, all of you. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
A massive thank you from me to both Sophie and Jenny for tonight. If you would like to stay for the signing, please stay in your seats. We will let you know when it's time to come up. And a massive round of applause again, please.